Ciaran Gibbons for Seconds Out here in the Motorpoint Arena, Cardiff in Wales. I'm delighted to be joined by Dmitry Salita, and all the way from New York. Welcome to Wales, and how have you found it so far?
Thank you. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here. A beautiful city. I love the boxing fans here. Great culture, and looking forward to a great night tonight. It started off right with Otto Wallin winning a good 8-round decision. He needs to get some work in, and now looking forward to Claressa's fight.
So you mentioned your heavyweight there, Otto. He's just boxed 8 rounds. I mean, how did you assess his performance?
I would say it was a workman-like decision. He's been out of the ring for almost a year. Had Dillian Whyte situation, didn't work out. So it was good for him to get back in the ring, get some work in, and now we look forward to bigger and better things.
The heavyweight division at the moment is very fluid. There's a lot of things happening. I mean, what's your plans for Otto over the next 12 months or so, trying to get him into a position for a title shot?
Well, I believe, based on Otto's performances, he's one of the best heavyweights in the world. And certainly once things figure themselves out with Fury, Whyte, Joshua, Usyk, Otto, I feel, is the 5th guy with all those guys based on his performance with Tyson Fury. So we'll see how all that falls out and see where Otto fits in. But, we'll look to get him back in the ring in the near future. Otto wants to fight the biggest and the best fights. And there's certainly a lot of fighters. Andy Ruiz is a great fight for him. Even Ortiz is a good fight for him. But I really believe that Otto is one of the best in the world, and we'll look for the great opportunity to make one of those fights happen.
And how far off are those fights being made?
Well, we're in conversation with several different broadcasters about different fights. Someone brought up Hughie Fury's name today, which is something that we may be interested in. So, we'll see how it all works out, even though there was a purse bid, which was a gigantic purse bid, which is great for boxing. But reading on the internet that situation is still unsettled, so we just don't know what's going to happen. In heavyweight boxing, and I learned it firsthand when Jarrell Miller was supposed to fight Anthony Joshua, you don't know what's going to happen until the guys step in the ring. So we're just very happy that Otto got back in the mix, got the win tonight in the UK, where there's so many passionate boxing fans and so much boxing media that loves the sport of boxing. And great for him to fight here on these shores, and we'll start exploring the other possibilities in a more real way.
And could you just refresh our minds from your point of view why the fight with Whyte didn't happen?
Well, Dillian Whyte got injured the day that Otto was supposed to go to the airport to take off to the UK. And, boxing training is difficult, so he may have not felt 100%. That's why the fight didn't happen. But we certainly would like to rehash those conversations either after this fight with Tyson Fury or some other point. But it's a fight that we'd like to make at some point in the near future. And Dillian Whyte, Chisora, Joshua, Fury rematch, Usyk, all those fights are a possibility for Otto. And, the UK over the last several years has been the palace for heavyweight boxing. It's been the mecca of heavyweight boxing. And we felt it was very important to get Otto to fight a fight here, to get him connected to the fans, to the boxing media. I think he did a good job tonight getting himself a win, going the distance, getting the rounds, getting the work in. And it kind of came off a bit on a short notice because we were waiting to see what would happen with the Whyte Fury situation. And then we, figured that it would be best to put him on the show here. And, I'm happy we're able to move forward in the best possible way.
So how does a Swedish heavyweight end up with a New Yorker?
Yes, that's such a great story. Otto is a kid from a small town in Sweden that doesn't really have much of professional boxing. Only had one heavyweight world champion. And he first started training with Joey Gamache. And then at some point he became a free agent. And at that point he already relocated to New York. I've seen him in the gyms. And I started talking to him and kind of laid out my plan for him. And he liked it and we clicked. And our second fight together for Tyson Fury, in which he did incredible. He landed more punches against Tyson than Deontay Wilder and Vladimir Klitschko put together. Deontay Wilder in his first fight. And after that, he's had 2 great wins against Kaufman and Dominic Breazeale in his last fight. So I think Otto's come along. He's getting better. He has a great teacher in Joe Gamache in his corner. They really have a great relationship. So, I very grateful to represent one of the best heavyweights in the world. And I think this is going to be a big year for him.
And how proud of your man were you when he fought Tyson Fury? Because a lot of people were a little bit sceptical. They weren't expecting such an excellent performance on the night. And no, like you said, give Tyson one of his toughest fights.
You know, to be quite honest with you, I believed in Otto, I had no idea what to expect, because Tyson Fury is one of the greatest heavyweights of our era. And I was pretty impressed and surprised that he did so well. And he elevated himself really up the ladder of heavyweight boxing, which was really incredible. And, you know, boxing is such an individual sport that so many things can happen on the night of a fight. And Otto showed up, and many felt that that maybe he even deserved the win in a way. Maybe the fight was a little bit closer. But I think both fighters have become better after that fight. Certainly Tyson Fury with Sugar Hill Stewart, who's a great trainer, made Tyson Fury levels better than he was. And Otto Wallin as well had now 3 wins, and it's gotten better. And, you know, I believe maybe that's a fight down the line that can make a lot of sense.
Do you think if it was anyone other than Tyson Fury in that fight, the fight would have been stopped due to the cut? Do you think they were very lenient with Tyson in that fight? Or, no, as an ex-pro yourself, were you happy to see it carry on?
You know, it's a very subjective situation. It was a significant cut. And I really believe that kind of all A-side guys, all stars, get the benefit of the doubt. And that's the way it is. And you know, and I accept it. I think it was a great performance. I think Tyson Fury is a great champion. He is a great fighter. He's a great person. He's a people's champion. I'm a big fan of Tyson Fury and an admirer of him. Certainly in the ring, I was hoping that my man would win. But, you know, we're happy with the result and happy with the performance. And I know that, and I know Sugar Hill Stewart is trainer as well. And I know that with Sugar in his corner, he's just going to keep getting better and better. But both fighters learned a lot that night. And I think Otto graduated to the next level, even though we didn't get the win. But objectively, based on fight facts, he landed more punches than anyone else in the history of Tyson Fury's career.
And I presume you've reached out to Tyson Fury and his people trying to get a rematch. I mean, have you heard any response from them? No,
well, Tyson Fury, you know, had the fights with Deontay Wilder, and then he was supposed to fight Usyk, and he had White. Certainly, they know that we're available, but I understand that they're working towards working in a different direction, so that's fine. But I do think that if for whatever reason Tyson Fury fights Usyk next, there's no better fight for Anthony Joshua than Tyson Fury. I'm sorry, than Otto Wallin. Being what that if the goal is for Anthony Joshua to fight Tyson Fury, there is no better measuring stick, so to say, for Anthony Joshua than Otto Wallin. So, you know, Anthony Joshua, Dillian Whyte, Chisora, a lot of possibilities in UK, and it was great that Otto got the win and got a chance to taste the ring in the UK and feel the support of the boxing fans and the boxing media. So I think only bigger and better things will happen as a result of tonight for Otto Wallin.
Do they come through anything? So 2 seconds.
Sure, no problem.
You're not in the restaurant, anything, you?
No.
Okay, yeah, fine, yeah, no worries.
Maybe.
So,
5-7 minutes.
Yep, whatever. Yep. Okay. Sorry for the interruption. Another one of your boxers in action tonight, Claressa Shields. Can you just tell us how you were involved in her?
I started promoting Claressa from a second professional fight, and it's really been a historic story from the beginning. She's the first woman ever to be a headline on premium cable network television, which was Showtime. She got tremendous ratings, and she won her first world title in her 4th professional fight. And up to that point, had the biggest fight in women's boxing history against Christina Hammer, which she blew away. And a little while thereafter, we made a deal with Sky and Boxer, and the goal is for Claressa to defeat Savannah Marshall here in the UK. But the first step to that is tonight.
And not overlooking tonight, but let's just presume that Claressa wins tonight. The fight with Marshall, I mean, how big is that in terms of women's boxing? Of course, you've got Katie Taylor fighting in the US, which has been, her fight has been classed as the biggest ever female fight. I presume you disagree?
It's a great fight. It's great for women's boxing that Serrano and Katie Taylor are fighting. I'm a fan, and I look forward to seeing the fight. But with all due respect, and this is not to take anything away from them, none of those fighters are as popular and as big and as accomplished as Claressa Shields. Claressa is a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, Her story outside the ring is incredible. She grew up in Flint, Michigan, which is one of the most challenging places in the United States, and she became the best, the first to ever do it. And she's fighting Savannah Marshall, hopefully. 4 hours from now, we can officially maybe announce it. Well, actually, Savannah has to fight March 12th. But certainly Claressa will have her job done later on tonight. And she's fighting the only girl that ever beat her in the amateurs. And she's coming to the UK to do it. So it's really a huge story. I believe it's one of the biggest women's sporting events of all time, and something that will move the needle for women's sports all over the world and in every sport, and certainly in boxing. And to have the support of Sky, which is such a big network here in the UK, and such a big brand, and to have not only the fight itself, not only have them supporting the fight itself, but also the shoulder programming, the promotion, the lives that the boxing fans will see of these two champions. It's really incredible, and I think that it's going to raise, and also what they're making is also going to raise women's sports, big fights in women's boxing to the next level. And Claressa, really from the beginning of her career, was very conscientious of who she is, of where she's at in her career, and wanting to make each fight a historic, meaningful event. And that's what we've done. And Claressa has been incredibly successful. This is her first fight here as a professional in the UK, and I look forward to a very spectacular, explosive night.
And did you have any doubt in your mind, or are you apprehensive at all about promoting a female fighter in America and obviously all over the world now?
Great question. So I read about Claressa Shields in a newspaper in the Wall Street Journal in 2016, before she won her second Olympic gold medal. And I read about her story, about her accomplishments, her being from Flint, Michigan. And I just thought to myself, this is the biggest boxing star coming out of the 2016 Olympics. And I just felt that she had all the ingredients. She was the right athlete at the right time. And I'm very grateful and honored to have promoted her pretty much all of her career, and to be taking these steps to some of the most major, most important moments in that historic career. I believe that Claressa is a generational athlete who is going to be remembered along the lines of Muhammad Ali, Jackie Robinson, Pele, Billie Jean King, Michael Jordan. She transcends the sport, and because of who she is and what she's done and what she's about. And tonight is going to be a great night, and I look forward to it. Although, not to take anything away from Emma Kozin, who's a very good fighter, undefeated, number 3 on BoxRec. Claressa's number 1, Savannah's number 2, Emma's number 3. So there's no better challenger for Claressa than to fight number 3, Emma Kozin, the mandatory challenger. And the British boxing fans, the world will see what Claressa Shields is all about tonight.
And just quickly, because I know you want to get away, one of your former opponents, Amir Khan's fighting Kell Brook in a fight that British boxing fans have been demanding for probably 5-6 years. How do you think that fight goes?
Great fight. I believe Amir is the favorite in that fight. I think he has a little bit more left. I think that he's faster. I think that his body can endure more punishment at this stage. But a great fight, and certainly Kell Brook is a very good fighter. Maybe he'll be able to put it all together. But and I've been asked this all this week, so I want to be consistent with my prediction. If you would ask me who I pick, I would give Amir would be the favorite.
And I believe I'm right in saying, because someone told me, that you haven't officially retired, so will we ever see you in a boxing ring again? Put me on the spot here. Well, I do stay in the gym, and I do train, and I do box sometimes. There's no return plan. Oscar De La Hoya or Floyd Mayweather did not call me out, but if they do, maybe we'll talk about it. You're around.
Do you think Sky will be interested?
Well, I mean, Thriller would probably be interested. Yeah. I mean, it's a great story, no doubt. Do you get itchy knuckles, so to speak, when you're around boxing all the time? You're around boxers, you're at events like this. Do you feel, as a former pro yourself, the urge to get in there, even if there's something in the back of your mind telling you, it's probably not a good idea?
Well, I love the sport of boxing, and I'm so honored and so grateful to be involved in on the business side and to be able to be part of the careers of these great fighters like Claressa and Otto and so many others that I represent. So, I do get a fix to be able to attend these fights and watch it. And, sometimes you sit ringside and you see the intensity of the fight. And as a fan, you think to yourself, you're like, man, I did this? It's pretty intense. Especially when you sit ringside and you see somebody get hit and the sweat fly off their head. It's a very intense sport. And and you have to be in a very focused mindset to be able to do it at the highest level. And I always wanted to compete at the highest level. And then when I felt that I didn't have the means to do it, I was looking for other ways to stay involved in the business, and initially started promoting my own fights. And several years later, here we are, promoting Otto Wallin and Claressa Shields in the UK. It's quite incredible, and I'm very grateful for the experiences that I had as a fighter that I think few have had on this side of the game, and because it certainly helps me in my business, in my decisions, in certain things that folks that have not been in the ring they just do not understand because they don't know. And in a lot of things, details make a big difference, and I'm grateful that I had the experiences to know the details of what boxing is about, and has experienced some things at a very high level to be able to operate now on the business side of it. So I look forward to growing and to getting better and to learning as a promoter. And my goal is to make the fighters reach just a little bit more than their potential.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. It's been brilliant talking to you. I found it really interesting, and enjoy the rest of your time in Wales and the UK until you go back stateside.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Cheers.
Thanks, man. Looking forward to a great night of boxing. And I see so many boxing fans drinking beer, so maybe I might have myself a glass. What do you recommend?
I'd have 3 or 4 beers if I was you.
3 or 4 beers, maybe after the fight, depending how good the night goes.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.